Well, I'm really excited to be here this morning to kick off the 2015 tax season. Yeah! No one gets as excited about taxes as we do. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you so much to Humanum for hosting us in this beautiful space. I was saying earlier, I worked in East Baltimore for many years and used to drive past this building and was always hoping for someone to do something amazing with it. So to see the incredible rehab and to see the incredible services that are happening here in Humanum, it warms my heart. My heart is here in East Baltimore, so thank you so much to Humanum. As you may be able to tell, I'm actually not Sarah Johnson, who's the director of the Baltimore Cash Campaign. I'm Robin McKinney, the director of the Maryland Cash Campaign. Sometimes people think we're the same person. We're not. We are two different people. A lot of people actually ask us if we know each other, and we do. We do know each other very well. In fact, we share an office, so sometimes we'll be on the phone and someone will say, "Have you met Sarah Johnson?" I'll say, "Yes, I have. I'm actually staring at her right now. I know what color shirt she's wearing, and I carpooled with her this morning, so I know what she's having for lunch, too." So yes, we know each other, and we work really closely together, the two cash campaigns. Some of you may not know that Sarah is out on maternity leave. She just had two beautiful baby girls, twins, on December 18th, so I think we'll have to do a selfie, a big selfie, to send to Sarah, who definitely sends her best, but is up to her ears in a lot of things right now. So who we are. So the Baltimore Cash Campaign is an incredible partnership of so many of you in the room, nonprofits, businesses, elected officials. It really takes a fleet of people. We're so excited to be here to kick off the 2015 tax season. This means that the tax sites are open officially, so you can go to bemorefreetaxes.org. You can call the phone number at 410-234-8008 to book an appointment. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of the folks that we have in the room. We'll get to all of our incredible elected officials in the room today, but we also have some of our great funders and partners in the room. So we have Bank of America is represented. If you could just raise your hand. Thank you to Bank of America. And United Way and 211, which is another great partner. And then we have some of our great tax preparation sites and volunteers in the room. So if you want to raise your hand. I know Cass is here. I know Carmen's here. Great. So CASH is an acronym, as many of you, hopefully you've been drilled in over all of these years we've been doing this press conference, right? CASH is an acronym that stands for Creating Assets, Savings, and Hope. And today I really want to focus actually on the H in our name, in hope. And why do we need hope? We need hope because when we look at the data, it shows us that it's really an uphill battle that we're facing, that we're working on. Yesterday, the Corporation for Enterprise Development released some data that showed despite Maryland being #1 actually in policies that can help working families to be more financially secure, we still have 35% of our residents who are persistently financially unstable. So this means they don't have enough money to live for 3 months at the poverty level. And this cuts across all incomes. This isn't just a low-income issue. We have high credit card debt, some of the highest in the nation. We still have high foreclosures. There's still a ton of work to be done, and it's not just a low-income issue, and that means it's going to take all of us to address it. There's actually, the report is up on our website if you really want more of that. The thing that was really stark for me when I was reading the Red Site, the data that came out yesterday is this 35% number. It's actually 2.3 times higher for households of color. We can do better. We can do better in a state that has good income. We can do better in a state that has this incredible partnership of elected officials and nonprofits and businesses. We can do better. Not everyone is experiencing the recovery that a lot of folks have talked about. We also know from the data that there are lots of people that aren't taking up the earned income tax credit. Here we have this incredible anti-poverty program, one of the largest. It's 40 years old this year. You're looking good, EITC, for 40. It's the new 20, right? That's what they say. And so here in the city, 20,000 residents are not claiming the EITC. That's leaving $50 million on the table. So what would it take? What would it take if we said today, we want to get those other 20,000 people who should be claiming it that aren't? What would it take? It would take all of us in in the room. We also know from our great partner 211, who fields thousands and thousands of calls for us each and every year for people with questions and to actually schedule our tax appointments. We know that we get about 3,000 more calls for appointments each and every year of folks that we're not going to be able to serve. And at this point, we're serving almost 10,000 people a year. So there are 3,000 people at least, and those are the folks that could at least get through that we know that we can't serve. So what would it take for us to be able to have the capacity, the volunteers, the partners, to be able to serve those additional folks? We could be discouraged, but again, we're trying to build hope. We're trying to keep that H in our name. So what we know is last year we were able to serve almost 10,000 people. That returned almost $20 million in credits to families. The average income for folks that are coming into the free tax preparation sites is $18,000. So we know that despite our income being able to go up to $53,000, we're really getting to the folks that need this service the most. Now more than ever, taxpayers have so many ways at the free tax preparation sites to be able to get their refund back. You can open a bank account through MeQ. You're able to use a prepaid debit card if you don't have or don't want to open a bank account. You can also find lots of very exciting ways to save your refund. Again, no one gets more excited about taxes and no one gets more excited about savings. There's probably like 5 of us that get that excited, but we're those people. So this year, in addition to be able to save in a bank account, you can also purchase a U.S. savings bond. It's the only time of the year you can do it without going through Treasury Direct. They make great gifts. They're very old-timey, right? We can all remember someone in our life that gave us a savings bond. This year, too, if you save a portion of your refund, you can also win instantly through a scratch-off ticket, as well as in a national promotion called Save Your Refund. So we're trying to get some excitement about savings because tax time is an incredible moment to do that. We also have a great reason for hope being in this space and having a new partner here in Humanum opening a new free tax preparation site, as well as Union Baptist Church, who we're so excited to bring on as well. So more and more each year, there are new partners coming to the table that say, we want to bring this service into our community. We also have reason for hope because we have incredible, long-standing volunteers and partners. This is the 14th tax season for the Baltimore Cash Campaign. There are lots of things that come and go. We've all seen it here in Baltimore City. I see it across the state of things get sort of hot and interesting. Maybe I wouldn't use the term sexy when it comes to taxes, but it can get, these things get popular, but we're here to stay, and we've been doing this for the last 14 years. I was there for that very first tax season when we did a couple hundred tax returns, so to see that we're hitting 10,000 families almost each and every year, the growth has just been absolutely incredible. And I have great reason for hope because I'm biased, but I think we have the best staff in the business. And the people at the table are just incredible. I just like to recognize the staff of the Baltimore Cash Campaign who do incredible work. So thank you for saying yes. Thank you for always making it work. And thanks so much for your dedication to the families that we work with. So now more than ever, we have an opportunity to really put Baltimore City on the map as a leading place in the country that is helping their residents to be more financially stable. So I ask you this morning, what can you do today to bring more hope to Baltimore City and to their financial lives? So thank you so much for being here this morning. Sure. Don't run me over, Gail.
No, we're not going to run you over. I think back will work better than forward. Sorry.
Is that too close? You got
You
enough
will
room?
still have room back here. Let's see if you're not in shadow.
She's not,
Stand there.
yeah, she's eliminated now.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
It's a little tight quarters now, just so you guys know when you come up. Lots of cords, everyone be very careful. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to our host at Humanum, the CEO, Mr. Henry Pasco.
Thanks, Robin. Good morning. There are a lot of longtime partners in the audience and a lot of new faces. So for those of you that are new to Humanum, this incredible building, which by the way was built with tax dollars. So in some sense, taxes are sexy because we think this is a sexy building. And You should know that Humanum's focus really is on workforce development, moving people toward financial security and financial independence, and we do that through a variety of programs. We have 500 employees. I should tell you that those 500 employees are some of the best staff in this state. We have, very good, great job, Angel. That was a Humanum cue. That's what we did at. So. But when we did this building, Robin was talking about hope. This building stood here for 45 years vacant as a symbol of despair in this community. And we work together, again, with partners, and this speaks to the cash campaign, similar partners. We're talking about the public sector, the private sector, the city of Baltimore, the state of Maryland, our mission-driven partners, et cetera, got us here and allowed us to deliver those services. And we do that through a variety of workforce development programs, whether it's being the community hiring arm for the Four Seasons, working with medical institutions like Hopkins and the University of Maryland, or individual job placements. That's how we move the needle. And the idea is not just to create jobs, but to create career paths in order for folks to be financially independent. We also do that through a number of social enterprises that we operate at Humanum. One of the programs that's been in the news a lot, been on every TV station in the last month or so, is our Details program, a deconstruction program where we deconstruct homes in the city, repurpose those materials, and employ people from those communities to deconstruct those homes. So it's a green business. It's a triple win here for both the city, the state, the employees, and I can tell you that other cities are looking at this model, and thanks to the Green Tracks Initiative with the mayor in Baltimore City, we're continuing to look at that effort. That of those 500 people that we employ, 100 of those individuals either are disabled, were formerly incarcerated, or were in poverty. And so it's not just about the job placement, it's really walking the talk. And again, Humanum is very fortunate to partner with the Baltimore Cash Campaign. We couldn't do anything without the partnerships with the state of Maryland, the city of Baltimore, both for-profit entities and the mission-driven organizations. So we're happy to be a site and happy to be a partner. Thank you for being here today.
Keeping with the trend of new sites, we're really excited to have Union Baptist Church online this year. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Reverend, I should say not Mr., just Reverend Hathaway. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It is a good morning. One of the things that Union Baptist Church has been known for, we are 163 years old. We've always been known for being on the cutting edge of social change, whether it's civil rights, whether it's advocacy, whether it's ensuring that children, we have 46 years of service in managing a Head Start program, whether it's providing opportunities for people. Right now, if you come to our community there in Upton, you drive along Pennsylvania Avenue, you'll see persons there dressed in Statue of Liberty clothing and costumes, directing people to for-profit tax preparation sites. It's kind of ironic, and in fact, it's kind of paradoxical, because when you think about the Statue of Liberty, you think about a place that says to us that, here, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. But in fact, when persons go to those kinds of facilities, they're really being choked, because they're charged exorbitant fees, and they are also given opportunity for loans against their refunds. And so we felt that our church and the community needed an avenue and a pathway for liberty, true liberty, where people do not have are onerously taxed and onerously charged for what can be provided free. And so we were just excited to open up a portion of a piece of property that we have at the corner of Drew Hill and Dolphin to provide access to free tax services. And I'm here to tell you that that little space is humming. And I really want to commend the Baltimore Cash Campaign for being a partner and being connected to us as we are providing what I believe is true liberty, where it is free and people will have access to retain their tax refunds, and hopefully, I'm a church, so come in tide. but also spend your money in this community. Thank you.
Now, many of you may know or may have heard us talk about the free tax preparation as VITA. Please don't say Vita. It makes us crazy. It's not a vitamin, it's a vitamin. And the lifeblood of the volunteer income tax assistance, which is what VITA stands for, are our volunteers. In Baltimore City, there are almost 200 volunteers each and every year. These are folks who dedicate 8 to 40 hours of their life just in training. They're tested annually, which is more than paid preparers, just saying, each and every year. They volunteer on snowy Saturdays. They volunteer, after they've already put in an 8-hour day at work, and they really are the lifeblood of our programs. So we're really excited to introduce one of our volunteers, Ms. Vivian Fenton.
Good morning. There's a quote that says that what we believe shapes who we become. So I became a volunteer of Baltimore Cash, which allowed me an opportunity to impact the lives of others. I was asked to speak briefly about my experience as a volunteer with Baltimore Cash. Back in 2009, my manager asked for volunteers to work with Baltimore Cash. I was a little hesitant, but with some convincing, I decided to give it a try. I have enjoyed every moment of it. Every year I take the training and I pass the IRS certification test, which qualifies me as a free tax preparer. I've assisted in the planning sessions and 1 year helped with setting up the laptops for Money Power Day. But I choose to be a greeter. As a greeter, my responsibility is to make sure that the clients have all the proper documents before they sit with the tax preparer. I've chosen this role because I love interacting and welcoming the clients. Sometimes I get a chance to hear their story as to why they chose Baltimore Cash. For the last few years, I've enjoyed volunteering at the Towson University location. My motivation in volunteering year after year is knowing that we help maximize the client's earning potential. My reward is seeing the client's face when a tax refund is identified and was not expected. I remember about 2 years ago at the Towson location, a client told me that she had her taxes prepared by one of the known paid tax preparers. And after they completed her taxes, she owed the IRS. Someone mentioned to her to try Baltimore Cash. She came in to see if Baltimore Cash could possibly reduce the amount she owed the IRS. As she was leaving, she came over to me with tears in her eyes. She was so happy and grateful that Baltimore Cash actually identified a small tax refund. That scenario confirmed my passion as a volunteer with Baltimore Cash, because this organization does impact people's lives. And I feel blessed that I can support this organization by volunteering with such a fantastic group. I wanted to just take a moment to acknowledge my co-workers who have also volunteered and supported Baltimore Cash. Thank you, Baltimore Cash, for this opportunity.
I think Vivian and her colleagues are a great reminder of why we need private businesses in this partnership with Baltimore Cash, is to have an employer, which is U.S. Trust, be able to say to their employees, this is an important opportunity. So we need businesses to help for volunteerism. We also need them to help us get the word out about the Earned Income Tax Credit. In the state of Maryland, employers are actually required to notify their employees that they could be eligible for the EITC. So we need that help as well. So as we transition to the right side of the room, if any of you are tweeting, because I assume you're not doing other work and you're paying attention to us when I see the heads down, right? Is Baltimore Cash's handle is @BaltCash, and you can use the hashtag EITC or free tax prep. Thanks. Moving on to that. That is your social media announcement. Moving on, we wouldn't be able to do the volunteer income tax assistance program without the IRS, and we like oversight, but we also like the partnership that we have with the IRS, and I would just like to acknowledge some of the other IRS folks who are in the room through our stakeholder partnerships, education, and communications folks, so I'm waving to you. Thank you. And so we have a great relationship with the IRS. So I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Patricia Evans, who's the Director of Distribution at the IRS.
It'd really be bad if I fell. Thank you, Robin. You know, when I was asked to speak today on behalf of the IRS, this was something I wouldn't have missed for the world. I am a Baltimore girl. I was born and raised here, and this is what Baltimore does well. And I am so proud to be here today, and proud of my state as well. So just a little means a lot to me. The community partnerships that the IRS has with Maryland Cash and Baltimore Cash are extremely important. And they're extremely important for their commitment to encourage workers to think about the benefits of the Earned Income Tax Credit, the EITC. As Robin mentioned, it's 40 years old this year, and this is our 9th year of doing the national EITC awareness event, which is just invaluable to making better life for millions of workers. Last year, more than 27 million households received more than $65 billion in EITC. In Maryland, we had 417,000 families, and they received $958 million in refunds. It's a lot of money added to our state income, but more importantly, put into the hands of the workers who struggle to make ends meet. Today, nationwide and here in Baltimore City, we've come together to help raise public awareness for EITC. It's a vital lifeline for workers. It puts food on their table. It pays their gas bills. It pays for clothes for their children and supplies for them to go to school, and everyday essentials. With an average Earned Income Tax Credit refund of $2,400 per family, it's a significant benefit to workers and their communities. The need to talk about EITC remains important. About a third of those workers eligible for the credit do not take it. About a third of them are eligible for the first time to claim it. And this is because lives often change. People marry, people divorce, or they may have a child. Each year, millions of people may become eligible for Earned Income Tax Credit for the very first time and may not know it. And that's why our outreach efforts are so important. We want to ensure that no one misses out on this credit. And that's why we tell workers, if you earn $53,000 or less from wages or from running a business, for running a farm, last year, you need to see if you qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit. We know that Earned Income Tax Credit is complex, but because of your help, you make it easier and you make them eligible through your diligence. And that's where our outstanding community partners like you all make a difference and play such a critical role. I want to thank you for all of your efforts and the partnerships, and for you all being here today to help continue with our EITC awareness. And finally, got a heavy lift this year. We have a unique challenge with the Affordable Care Act provisions, and to successfully administer the provisions of that. We're absolutely confident with you all as our partners. We're going to be highly successful doing that, and it will be as seamless and helpful for the taxpayers getting the quality of service they deserve. Thank you for your partnership, and thank you for having me. It means a tremendous amount to be here today. Thank you.
Baltimore Cash and Maryland Cash wouldn't be as successful if we didn't have our elected officials to have our back. one great example that we've had for many years now actually is the state of Maryland when they send out their statements for unemployment. So we love tax forms, right, in this world. So when people get their 1099-G, there is a stuffer inside of it that promotes the earned income tax credit. And this year, because of the Affordable Care Act, we also put information on that about open enrollment. And that went to over 220,000 Marylanders across the state. And all we had to do was pay for the stuffer. It's already included in a state mailing. So it's a great way where government and nonprofits can work together. So I'd like to introduce next Mr. Peter Francho, who's our Comptroller of Maryland, who I met in a Safeway parking lot, not far from here in Canton, when he was campaigning for his very first term. And because I'm an advocate, I don't take any, don't try to lose any opportunities despite going in to get some bread and eggs or whatever I was in the store for. And I said, you know, we have this issue with paid tax preparers. They're taking advantage of people in the communities that we're working with, and we need to do something about it. And he said, when I'm elected, come and see me, and I did. And in 2008, we passed a law to license paid tax preparers. And yes. Only the third state at the time to do that. There's only 4 now. And the comptroller has a very similar value that we have here at the Cash Campaign, which is to say yes. When it's about getting the word out about the earned income tax credit, when it's about trying to uncover scams of unscrupulous tax preparers, he says, where do you want me in the state? And he always shows up. So we thank him for that. So Mr. Comptroller.
Well, I rarely get to speak to audiences that applaud the start of the tax season. I was lucky enough, though, in the last election, I got 1,061,267 votes. Not that I was closely counting or anything, but for folks that may want to be comptroller someday, let me just give you some free advice. Don't go around campaigning that you're the tax collector. But it's very well received when you say your agency is in charge of tax refunds. And I'm delighted to be with everyone today, particularly Robin McKinney, who I'm such a big fan of, and who, frankly, the first press conference I had after I was elected on a substantive issue was on earned income tax credit, and we had a young single mom who got up and said, I got $2,000 from this program, and I'm happy to report that I'm no longer eligible. Because I took the $2,000 and I bought a car, not much of a car, but it worked, allowed me to go 15 miles further to get a much better job, so I'm making more than whatever it was back then. Now it would be, I guess, more than $53,000. And thank you for that program. And so, Robin, thank you for buttonholing me before you went in grocery shopping and helping me understand the impact. And I'd like to, if I could, also recognize Gail Economos, who was in charge of bringing people together, and I always appreciate her expertise. And I want to thank Henry Pasco, who is the CEO, Henry E. Pasco Jr., the CEO of Humanim, and I want to give him one of my very special comptroller's medallions. I give these to Marylanders who make a difference. Henry, for 35 years, you have championed not-for-profits, and you're so successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Gave those to once to the Teacher of the Year, and I happened to come back to my seat, and former Senator Sarbanes was there, one of my favorite legislators and senators of all time, and he leaned over and said, "That's kind of cool, that medallion. Can I have one?" We got him one. Anyway, this National Earned Income Tax Credit Awareness Day is incredibly important, not just for the people of the wonderful region of the greater Baltimore area, but frankly for the entire state of Maryland. I'm very proud to work side by side with Cash and with all of you and all the private volunteers who come in, particularly the folks from our banking community, which I very much appreciate. you know, this is a all hands on deck exercise, and I'm delighted that we have so many partners here. I say when the IRS is not here, then I am not the IRS because they have a bit of an image problem sometimes. But I'm delighted. I'm delighted. I'm delighted. I'm delighted to be here with Trish, who is represents the very best values of our wonderful state. And I obviously kidding about the IRS. Tell Koskanen that I'm okay. But that's an organization which has tremendous responsibilities, and Trish mentioned the Affordable Care Act. That is a very, very significant situation that's facing the IRS, and since we're dependent on the IRS getting us our electronic refund forms, we're right there, and hopefully we'll have a smooth tax season. I want to thank Pastor Hathaway for his great work, and Vivian, I already mentioned your important sector that you work with, and Trish, I've already ruined my relationship with you, so folks, thank you for being here. The mayor of the great city of Baltimore, who's on all sorts of national news shows and is constantly raising the flag for economic development and moving the city forward, and I'm delighted to be with her. And look how beautiful she is. I mean, really. Yep. And then Jack Young, who is the president of the city council, someone that I've worked with on all sorts of youth activities. He never forgets where he comes from, and he was the hardest working person here in Baltimore. Jack, thank you for being here. So we've talked about the importance of what we do, but it's particularly important right now because the state of Maryland has tremendous wealth, and we all know the affluence and the fact that the Census Bureau says we're the richest state in the country. Yeah, we are. But guess what? Half our people couldn't produce $2,000 without selling their car. And to say that there's some suffering going on out there is a gross understatement. And I'm just delighted that cash is out there giving people something that they can hang their hat on as far as getting a bit of a foot up on these tough economic times. She mentioned the tax preparers. We did pass the legislation. I'll tell you, that's I love my accountants. I guess I'm the chief accountant of the state, but there are a lot of people out there that are about as far removed from the ethics and values of accounting as you can possibly find, who are, well, we mentioned the licensing bill. That's, I'll take credit for it, but frankly, it doesn't do that much because it hasn't been implemented in a way that it should have been. And as a result, we have a lot of fly-by-night people out there that are not scrupulous, and frankly, they take advantage of our citizens, and when they're not processing tax returns, they're doing things that, well, half of them, some of them in my area in Montgomery County, they have signs saying palm reading and underneath it tax preparation. Well, avoid that group if you would. So this program is described as the most effective anti-poverty program in the country, in the history of the country. And I think what Trish related as far as the amounts of refunds that are eligible and coming back to Marylanders, everyone gets the idea that this program actually works. It has a huge impact. Obviously, we want everybody to take advantage of it, but trust me, the people that already take advantage of this, it is a tremendous help to them. Our 12 branch locations for the comptroller's office are ordered to stay open for long hours and work with cash and give free tax preparation for the state return as long as you bring your federal return. And so we're right there with cash and all of you and helping folks file their tax returns properly and take advantage not just of the federal earned income tax credit, but the state earned income tax credit. And I emphasize that the tax preparation is incredibly complicated this year because of all of the new bells and whistles that have been attached. And we need folks that are knowledgeable about taxes, because most people are completely clueless. If I could, just for 30 seconds, take advantage of having the microphone to say that there is no single issue more important to the happiness of our people than educating them on the basics of financial literacy. What's a budget? What's debt? What's compound interest? How do you, regardless of your income, have a strategy where you can have some independence, some dignity, some ability to have confidence that you're not on the edge of a precipice as far as fiscal decisions, that you're not being taken advantage of, and that you are putting together a plan to accumulate some wealth. And it doesn't matter how much it is. It is the confidence of having a path forward that I emphasize. I have asked everyone that I meet with to support having a standalone financial literacy course as a prerequisite for high school graduation. This obviously is a mandate, and everybody gets nervous about that. I'm telling you, it is the most important right we can give our kids. We love all civil rights, and we don't want anybody to be discriminated against. We want everybody to have the Bill of Rights right there in front of them and have all the rights they have. If you don't have what I call the silver right, the basics of financial literacy, I don't care how much money you make, you're not going to have what people need, which is happiness in that they're in control of their lives. So those of you that support financial literacy, please come on out and help me. We have a new governor, Larry Hogan, not my party. That's okay. For the next couple of years, we can drop the spin and all that nonsense, roll our sleeves up, and get the job done. And part of the job is this financial literacy for our young people. And I'm very glad to see that he is super supportive of that. And let me just sit down then and say, God bless you all real good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Comptroller. And I wanted to mention, this year, Congressman Cummings and Congressman Sarbanes couldn't be with us today because they were pulled to a caucus meeting, but I wanted to recognize Crystal Washington in the room, who's here from Congressman Cummings' office. So thank you so much for being here. So we have incredible support at the federal level, at the state level, and now looking here to Baltimore City. The mayor has come here each and every year, despite having 1,000 other places I'm sure she could be at. She films public service announcements for us, and also makes sure to get the word out through the city agencies. We work really closely with the community action centers. We have lots of Baltimore City employees, so we thank her so much for that. So the mayor, Stephanie Rawlings-Blake.
Robin, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It is a pleasure for me to be here with all of you. This is the council president and I were talking. We feel like it's Groundhog's Day. We are back again to talk about the beginning of the tax season. I want to thank all of you for being here, and particularly the volunteers. I get so proud when I think about the work that volunteers do throughout the city. I just left a meeting with my youth cabinet, council president. We were talking about all the volunteers, your office, my office, all the different agencies that are reading angels, that go and help our kids with the reading proficiency. And we also have mentoring that he supports, I support. And we have so many city employees that are volunteering all over the place. And that's not a city employee thing, it's a Baltimore thing. we believe in giving back. So I really want to thank the volunteers because I believe part of public service, it's not about necessarily having an office. It's about using the talents and the experience that you have to make your community better. And none of this works without competent and qualified volunteers. So please give yourselves another hand. I want to thank all of our partners. Henry, you always open Humanum for these significant community events, and I want to thank you for that. And Reverend Hathaway, as always, there's an important component that the faith community plays, and that's when people trust what we're doing, they're more likely to take advantage of the opportunity. And your partnership is bringing more people to the table to save money and to protect their assets, and I really appreciate that. I'm going to be very, very brief. Everything that needed to be said has been said, and I don't need to say it again. I just want to thank the Cash Campaign for building every single year to do better for Baltimore families, for encouraging not just that people don't get fleeced by these tax preparers, but more than that, they build assets. The financial literacy component, the savings component, all of those things are helping to build our families. And over the past 14 years, the Cash Campaign has saved families more than $15 million. That's significant. We can clap for that. That's a big thing. I know that each year I look forward to doing the ad, and I look right in the camera and I tell people to get down to the Cash Campaign. You don't have to go to the the ones that they want to take a big cut out of what you want and say they're going to give you an advance, and it's really, by the time you get it, your earned income tax credit could be gone, right? And I know that each year we're here to celebrate what we've done and also encourage us to continue to keep pushing. So that's why I'm here, to make sure that more of Baltimore can earn it, keep it, and save it. And I know together we can make it happen. Thank you so much.
And now to the City Council President, who's been our man on the street for outreach. I get those newsletters, and every time I see the Cash Campaign in there, I'm like, yes, I wish every elected official would help us to get the word out, because doing that constituent service I know takes a lot of work, and I know you take it seriously, and we thank you so much for that. So with that, Mr. Jack Young.
Thank you and good afternoon. I'm not going to be redundant. First of all, I'd like to thank Robin for filling in and doing such a great job. You said she had twins? Yeah. Oh, twins. Wow, double trouble. Also want to thank Henry for opening the doors and for being one of the centers that's going to allow our citizens to come in and get their taxes done free. I want to thank Reverend Hathaway for the one that's over on the west side. I'm always happy to be here with our comptroller and our mayor. We all know what public service is all about, and we try to provide great public service to the people who vote for us. I want you to make sure you go and tell Commissioner John that I said the IRS is the best agencies in the world. Make sure you tell him that. But, the Cash Campaign is so vitally important. I see the Statue of Liberty all over the place, running down the street, flagging people down so that they can go in. And here's the funny thing about it. They'll charge you for doing your taxes, and then they'll charge you a fee for the rapid refund. So you're giving your money away twice. So the Cash Campaign, you don't pay, and you get more money to keep in your pocket. So I just want to thank all those volunteers that take your time to help with this Cash Campaign. I want to thank everybody that's affiliated, all the volunteers, and we're going to ask that you make sure that you spread the word to all your friends that you can get your taxes done for free. Again, thank you for having me this morning.
Thank you so much. So today is the kickoff, but it's not the stop. We are not going to stop. We're going to keep kicking, right? So today, tweet, Facebook, text, email, whatever you have, grab some flyers, give them to people that you think need them, give them to people you think don't need them, give them to strangers on the street. We have done it. Whoever you think this information could be helpful for, your own organization, your own family, send them to BeMoreFreeTaxes.org or have them call 410-234-8008. And with your help, we can all bring some more hope back to Baltimore. So thank you so much.